Hi everyone, and welcome back to Amity Bloom. My name is Nazi, and today's video is going to be a project share on some things that I've been having fun with and creating, as well as a project for all of us to create together. Right in front of me are the 3 different stages of the project that we're going to be creating together and that will be available in my shop later today. I'm going to be sharing with you all my technique for creating deconstructed journal pages. I first used the phrase deconstructed when I created my heirloom envelopes collection. Deconstructed journal pages is really just a base, either paper or fabric, you get to choose whichever one you like the best, and you can use them to then create a journal or to decorate a journal. You can use them as individual art pieces. They are essentially a page from a journal that is not typically bound in a book. So like a deconstructed page, it's not constructed into a journal yet. So today we're going to be creating deconstructed journal pages, and you'll notice I'm using a fabric base to start. Then when you start decorating it with papers and with fabrics, passing it through your sewing machine, you create something like this. And this is the deconstructed journal page already finished with your embellishing, with your decorating, with your artwork. So whatever makes you feel more comfortable and whatever pieces you want to add onto your deconstructed journal page. And then once you have your individual page, you can then create a little pack of all of your individual journaling pages, put them into a journal, or you can give them as a gift to someone. I created these really lovely packs that will be in my shop, and it's essentially 2 deconstructed journal pages and a floating fabric pocket with some ephemera. And I also put in there a little sample of some lace that I absolutely love. So I will be sharing with you all of the different packs that will be in the shop, but if you are interested in purchasing one of these packs, they will be available at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can definitely take a look at all the different pictures. So I'm going to put this one aside for now. I like to keep this one right next to me so that I have an example of what I want to create. Now, since I chose a fabric base, I want to continue with fabric, and I want to do some collaging with different types of fabrics that I have. Here I have, and you'll notice it's huge, a huge pile of different types of fabric scraps that I have on my desk. You'll notice it's different types of linens and laces and fabric pieces that were left over from some fabric bundles that we're going to be creating and sharing with you all very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be using some of this fabric. I can't use all of it, of course. So let me go through my stack and I will pick and choose the fabrics that I want to use. So I just went through my fabric scrap pile and I picked out some fabrics that were very similar to the ones that I used for this journal page. I suggest having about 5 to 6 different types of fabrics so that you have an array and a nice amount of different types to work with. And I just kind of play with them wherever I want to put them. I just place it wherever I think it best looks put together. So for example, this one, I really like how it looks up at the top right there. And then I need to decide where I want this floral, and I think I might put it in the same area that I placed this one. And then I need some pink. It's too blue, so I might just put the pink perhaps like around here, and I just trimmed it down a little so that it fits nicely. Put the lace there, and I don't bother cutting this part off since this is going to cover it up anyway. And I think I just want to add a little bit of this blue fabric, perhaps down here, and then I'll probably add it below the pink so that it doesn't cover up the pink, since there's a lot of blue going up at the top, here in the middle, on our focal image, and now here at the bottom. And then the lace, will go over here so that you still see a bit of the blue. The blue is a little bit more muted at the bottom. So what I like to do to adhere this is you can go and sew each one individually. However, I like to sew at the very end. I recommend using a type of fabric glue or a fabric adhesive and gluing very lightly, gluing your fabric pieces individually to the base of your journal page. And once you have done that, you can then move on to the paper. So let me go ahead and glue my fabric pieces on my base, and you'll notice I'm just dabbing it a little bit, kind of like polka dots. You're adding polka dots of glue. Since I am going to be passing this through the sewing machine, I'm not worried about it not being perfectly glued down. If you're not using a sewing machine and you just want to use adhesive, you do want to make sure that you're adhering your fabric really well. And then just take your lace and add it right there on the bottom. Now it's time to decide what paper pieces you want to collage on top of your deconstructed journal page. I really like this paper, and I think I want to place it maybe here or over here actually, but I want to cut off a little bit in length, and I'm going to use these decorative scissors. You'll notice they have the little border on the bottom. These scissors are mainly marketed for kids, however, they are awesome for journaling or for using in your journals. The only thing is that they do look a little bit goofy, but they look beautiful when you use them to trim and cut your papers. So now it fits a lot better because you can see what's on the bottom. It's not too big anymore. So I like to do the collage around the focal image, just like what I did here. Here's the focal image, and I did the collage here on the bottom and then a little bit up at the top. And then I want to grab some other paper pieces. So I just picked out some paper pieces from my paper scraps. You'll notice that this is a perfect project to use up your scraps. And I found some French manuscripts that were left over from our paper bloom packs. And I'm just going to cut this in half. I have these two papers, and actually this one also. These three are from my digital paper collection that I recently shared with you all. This is from the French, this is from the French, and this one I believe is the botanical paper. And I really like the fonts, the difference in fonts, and I know I want to use this one and perhaps this one. This one's a little bit too dark, just slightly. And with this one, I think I'd like to cut out just this top. And then I have some scrapbook paper. With the paper, I think what I'd want to do is cut it in half, keeping that deckled ripped edge at the bottom. All right, that looks really pretty. I like that. And then with this one, this looks really nice, just placing it over here. And then we have our embossed paper. For some reason, I really want to add the embossed paper on the side. I think this needs to be cut down a little bit. And then this French manuscript, definitely want to use this side. And then I like the French manuscript to be up here at the top. I think that'll look really nice. And I'll cut the excess, of course. So then I just need to fill out this area and add a little something up at the top. I have this little scrap piece of some ledger, and I like the color, that really lovely ledger patina. So I'm going to trim off the excess from the bottom. This would be really nice to just place right there. Ooh, this little paper piece would be really lovely. Let me use a little snippet of that wallpaper. So I have this little tiny snippet of some vintage wallpaper from our paper bloom packs. And I think that would look lovely right there. Look at how cute that little piece looks. And then I have this really lovely French fabric. And I want to cut a little part of it off to use right along the edge, like that. And that, my friends, I think is the layout that I want to use for my deconstructed page. I'm going to individually glue every little piece of paper. You can fully adhere it or you can temporarily adhere it if you're going to sew it. So here is my deconstructed journal page with my papers collaged on top of and fully adhered. I absolutely love how it looks, and you'll notice that even though we're using the same types of fabrics, you get a different result, a different look, just by adding a little snippet of some paper or a different snippet of some fabric. As you'll notice here, I used a different piece of some fabric. I used my French script here at the bottom, a different type of embossed paper. If you do have a sewing machine, I completely recommend you to sew around your collage to keep everything in place and to give it a nice decorative and finished edge. You can choose to do a contrast stitching, kind of like what I did here. I will end up passing this through my sewing machine later on, just in a square with a normal line stitch, and you can do contrast stitching or you can do stitching that matches the colors of your fabric. But your collage is finished. It's beautiful as all of the fabrics go really well together as well as the papers. And if you do have a sewing machine, I definitely recommend you to have fun experimenting with the different colors that you can use. And if you want to further decorate your collage piece, then definitely add some phrases or sentiments to your individual paper pieces. So you can definitely play around with how you want to finish them. If you don't have a sewing machine, this by itself is beautiful. You don't have to pass it through a machine. You don't have to finalize it with stitching in any way. As long as you make sure that the paper and the fabric is adhered to your base, you're perfectly fine. You can then use them to create covers. You can use them as journal pages. You can use them as floating bookmarks within your journal. They look beautiful. It's really, really fun to create, and especially with the different papers and fabrics that you have, that's what makes it special. So let me go ahead and share with you all of the ones that I've actually finished. However, I do want to share with you all how this little pack looks like, the ones that will be available in my shop. They're all tied up really nicely, and then you have your individual pieces. So this is the one that's included in this pack. You'll notice use the same technique with all of them. A focal fabric image, collage with different pieces of paper, and they all have a sentiment, and these sentiments are from my journal sentiment and phrases pack in my shop. You can download them and use the same ones to create your own deconstructed journal pages. And with this one I did leave some of the fabric on the edge, as I thought that was really lovely. And then on the back they're all finished with some paper that you can use for journaling, and this is some beautiful recycled lavender paper. I just love it so much. It's really nice. And so you can journal on the back, and you can put this in your journal as a page. You can use it as like a floating inspiration page. They all come with a little snippet of some of my favorite lace at the moment. And then I created some smaller little ones. Like, look at how cute this one is. They all have a little ruffle too at the side or on the bottom. Just different types of papers all collaged together. I love this little floral, and lots of the fabrics that I am using will be shared in a few weeks. I had so much fun creating the bigger ones that I wanted to create the smaller ones, and these big ones measure approximately 5 by 7, and then these smaller ones measure 4 by 6. And then I also created some little fabric pockets. They're floating pockets, and on the inside you have different little ephemera pieces. Some of my botanical journal cards, some vintage and antique ephemera. I created some bigger labels for you to journal on. Some beautiful recycled papers that you can also put into your journal. This one I love. This is from a vintage book, and it has to do all about love. And what I really liked was the edge. I thought it was so pretty. So this one, just to add a little pop of color, and then some little note sheets as well. So that is what's included as the little ephemera in your floating fabric pocket. And all of them will be a little bit different. They will all have the book page and the labels, but the antique ephemera will vary between all of the sets. But this is essentially what's included in the Deconstructed journal pack. I absolutely love how this looks together and even separately, and I want to see actually how it looks like in my Artist in Bloom. I think this is completely the style that I would incorporate into an Artist in Bloom journal. So let me choose this page, and let me take the bigger 5x7 Deconstructed journal page. Look at how stunning, oh my goodness. I might keep this one actually for myself. I love how this looks. I actually haven't put it in my journal yet, but this looks lovely. And I love that I can tip it in with washi if I wanted to, and I could journal on the back, or I can even have this floating around as like a bookmark if I wanted to. Now let me see how the others look like. Of course, the lace is just beautiful. You can create anything that you'd like with it. But I want to see these smaller pieces. Look at that. I love that. This one I'd probably turn into like a little pocket. Or I could do the same thing with just tipping it in with washi or with some paper or fabric. And I can journal on the back. With all of these, you can journal on the back of them. And then, of course, with the floating fabric pocket, I mean, you can use it however you would like. So you can glue them on, or you could just float them throughout your book and then use your individual little ephemera pieces to then put into your journal and use them that way as well. So I really love this. This looks so pretty. It really hits home because I love the deconstructed method of journaling. And I just have so much fun creating and decorating a journal page without having to go through the process of actually creating a full journal. I think this project is incredible and it's so fun to create, especially since we get to use up all of our leftover pieces of paper and fabric. So if you are interested in purchasing one of my deconstructed journal pages, or my page sets, I should say, they will be in my shop tonight at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let me go ahead and share with you all the different pieces that I have created. I created a lot of them. So I really quickly wanted to share with you all of the deconstructed journal pages that I ended up making. You'll notice I got a little carried away. I'm not going to lie. I started making them and I couldn't stop because they were really, really fun to create. And I had so much paper and fabric left over that I wanted to use them in a really creative way. So I'm just going to go through the pack so that you can see the difference in the ones that you might be getting. All of these will be photographed and will be coming in different sets in my shop. And you'll notice they're all different yet so similar. Some of them have a blue background to them. Some of them have more of an ivory, like oatmeal background. Some of them have a floral background. I think what I'm going to do is pair up the ones that have a blue background with one that has a pink background for the smaller one. And that way you have different colors that you can use. I just love how these turned out. And all of them have different sentiments. I will be keeping one of these sets. I still don't know which one, but I just love how they look. All put together, really lovely. Now I want to share with you all the smaller ones. This one's very French to me. Like, these colors just scream French. This one too. I really love how some of them have the fabric pieces kind of coming up from the bottom or the sides, the ruffles. It's essentially what I do to a journal or to a journal page, but I did it as a singular, deconstructed page that you can then decide if you want to use as a cover. Oh, I love this one. I love how this is really close to the ruffle. That's, I think, the beauty of this style of creating journal pages, of working individually, page by page, and giving you that option to then decide if you want to use these on the cover of a journal or just floating throughout your book. If you'll notice, when you look at the side, it looks just like a journal. And that's what I think makes my heart so happy, is that it reminds me of a journal, and it's the elements of a journal, but just made and constructed in a smaller singular, piece that you can then use however you want to. And when you package it up, it's just so lovely. It's kind of like my Pockets of Happiness, but as like journal pages and with fabric. I really love this. I love this project so much. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my process for how I create my deconstructed journal pages. These are essentially little canvases that you can decorate and collage however you want to whatever style you like the best, and they're just incredibly fun to create. So that's why I ended up creating like 20 different pieces, that hopefully you guys will love them as much as I love creating them. And if you're interested, definitely take a look at the pictures and at my Etsy shop. They will be in my shop at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're interested. And I want to thank everyone so much for taking the time to watch this video and for trying out this new project that I wanted to share with you all. Of course, until next time, I hope that all of you have an incredible day and weekend that's coming up around the corner, full of peace and full of love. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon with another share and another project. Bye-bye! See you soon!